Welcome, Ms. Vasundhara.
Hi everyone.
Hello.
Yes, Dr. Nidhi, you can please start. I've started the recording.
Uh, Good evening, one and all. On behalf of Amity Innovation and Design Center and Institution Innovation Council, Amity University, Uttar Pradesh, I, Dr. Nidhi, welcome all esteemed dignitaries, honorable guest, faculty member, and our student, day 5 of 6-week Technology Entrepreneurship Program on Organic Farming and Biofuels. It is a pleasure to have us with today Ms. Vasundhara Arora, currently working in the in-house corporate strategy team at Cognizant. She is a strategy and consulting professional with action-oriented and methodological problem-solving skills. She has garnered her share of experience from her stints with noteworthy corporations such as JP Morgan, EY, and Bain. She has more than 9 years of hands-on experience across corporate strategy, business growth, transactional lifecycle support, business development, and due diligence. Ms. Vasundhara is a multitasker to drive results. Being a strong, wild person, Miss Arora believes as much as in destiny as in hard work. So I welcome you, ma'am, to present your talk.
Thank you so
So
much
over to
everyone.
you, ma'am.
I just quickly want to check if my video is there because it shows me a pop-up saying the webcam cannot be activated for this call.
That shouldn't be the case.
I'm trying to switch it on and it shows up an error somehow.
Um,
Ma'am, I think window is not updated, ma'am.
Maybe the
Let me quickly hang off and join again to try this if it works.
yeah. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll do.
Please.
Yeah, so it is still giving me that error that we cannot use our webcam for this
Oh,
call without
okay.
authorization.
You can share your PPT, Ms. Vasundhara.
Okay, I'll do that, guys. Just
Is this still giving you that error, the same error again?
yes, it says I need to get some authorization to put up my video.
Oh, okay.
Maybe it's some organizer
Maybe.
permission that I need. Yeah, just 1 second. Can you see the screen? I put the PPT up.
Yes, yes, Mr. Sundra, we can see the screen.
All right.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, great. So hello guys, and thank you for the introduction, Dr. Nidhi and Dr. Manjula, and I'm very happy to be addressing you all today. I'm very sad that the video is not working because it would have helped in an interactive session, but nevertheless, this is technology for us. Might favor sometimes and might not. All right. So moving on, now that we are talking about entrepreneurial success and business opportunities, and you have had this entire week long, more than a week long session about honing your entrepreneurial skills and having more polished edge over others when you talk about your entrepreneurial instincts, I would say. But the first question, when so many people, I take this forum many multiple times in multiple universities, and the first question that people ask me is, how do we identify an idea? So how do we know that this is the one thing that we want to take up and build an idea or a business empire out of? So we have established businesses today. We have the Ambanis and the Tatas of the world, and we know they have broken solid ground, but they also started by something which never existed. So probably, the next 5 to 7 minutes, we are going to spare something about how you can screen ideas around your ongoing lives, how you can feel that something around you is probably trying to tempt you into this entrepreneurial journey, and this entire instinct of yours to build a good business for yourself might just become a bit easy because you would be able to have a knowledgeable view to the ideas that lie around you right now as well. Okay. So the first one is serve a specific audience. Most ideas that you see around would revolve around this, which is serve a specific audience. So if back then nobody thought that elderly people or sick people would not be able to move up the floors of a hospital, a wheelchair would never have been invented, right? If people would not have thought that it is so difficult to count so many notes at a bank cash register every day, the automatic counting machine should not have been developed. So either you can pick up a specific audience that you know is going to be needing more and more ideas, more and more innovative thoughts to be able to come up the curve or to make their lives easier. And when I say lives easier, I really do not only mean the people who need help, but for people, like Zomato was created for everybody, right? It is today a need for a needy person or a need for a foodie person as well. So serve a specific audience. So this is one head start. This is one mindset that can help you think of an idea which might be lying around you, and you can probably pick it up before others. So serve a specific audience is when you just take care of one target market that you want to cater to, and then you try to think around what's happening in that market's life, where can you pitch in, what is the value chain, and what sort of clicks you, and what says okay fine, let it be the way it is. So you can find your value proposition in a specific audience when you have chosen that specific audience, and that can come from literally anything, guys. I mean, most often than not, you will have people whose parents have been working in banking sector or in finance sector, or they have been or doctors at a hospital. So you have naturally more knowledge and more idea about that sector, and hence you are probably able to gather more insights into what will serve that sector better. Okay, so that's one directional mindset that I'm helping you with, which is serve a specific audience. Next up, we have explore your passion or creativity. So, business ideas are not necessarily supposed to be, how do I put it, very crucial or life saving or very technology driven. It can also come out from a very simple passion or creativity domain also. I'll give you a real life example. So one of my friend, she paints a lot, and in lockdown she started to paint even more and even better. And now she has tied up with so many interior designing firms and just trying to put up her work online, and also telling them that for whatever ventures or projects that you are doing, I would like to contribute to it by, if you can put up my one painting in one of the rooms or something. And suddenly she is saying organizational success. Why I say organizational success? Because it was just a passion and one interior designer, but suddenly people look at it. There's so much digital marketing today, there's so much social advertising. People look at it and they say, oh, we really like this. So either there are people coming to her to buy her paintings, or there are new interior decorators who are trying to tie up with people like her, who are relatively cheaper than professional artists, but still are trying to find a medium to explore their passion in a business venture manner. All right, so this is very new concept, guys. This is not something that probably a books or Porter's Five Forces or new models of theories will tell you, but this is actually what is happening on ground today. So if you have any passion or creativity, you can really think about how you monetize it and how you create an idea by itself. It need not be an idea that's there, but probably you can create an idea to have your own market and your own share of that market. Okay, so that's two. The third one is very simple, I would say, but it is the most tedious one. It is the one that is going to take most knowledge, most experience, most time, and most, application of a lot of tools and algorithms and frameworks that you're reading in your studies, and a lot of probably professional help also, because now you're trying to do a more informed analysis of the demand market. So today, if you sit and you know that ideally we would have had this session in a physical manner, right? I would have been standing up there or talking to you guys in a room. You guys would have gathered unwillingly and you were like, why am I supposed to do this? And I would impose this on you. No, you're supposed to have this in your curriculum. So that's the traditional way of doing things. But today, because of whatever scenario we are all living in, this is the way we are trying to connect. This is the virtual way which is bringing people together, and not just people. This is the virtual way businesses are trying to survive in times of today, right? So if you would have probably taken a step back and thought of how technology market is going to scale up, and then thought of its market trend for demand, you would have definitely gotten an idea of it being an exorbitant market. You would have gotten an idea that technology is going to drive most industries in some manner or the other. Teachers, students, even doctors who are doing online prescriptions and online medication visitations and everything, nobody was so much dependent on technology until it became the very necessity. But now when it is a necessity, you have no idea but to learn how to do a Zoom meeting, how to do a Teams call, how to make presentations and present it virtually, still have that connect with the audiences. There are teachers who are doing exam evaluations and post examination feedbacks online. There are such important activities in the economy, in the nation, in the world happening virtually. So all of this, the baseline of this is technology. So I am not saying technology is the only market whose demand trend is upwards, but I'm giving you a very definitive example, and probably something that you can pick off in your individual area of interest as well, because technology today is going to impact all businesses, all industries, all sectors. So even if you're trying to explore your passion or serve a specific audience, you can always look for a technological dimension to it that is going to add to a lot of market driven growth and trend analysis that you already know about that market. Okay, so that's the third tip for you guys. You can either serve a specific audience, you can explore your passion, or you can analyze market trends, that what is going to be a bigger thing in the near future, and then you eventually try to tie things together and build your own venture out of it. The fourth one is very easy. I mean, nobody will probably list it down as simply as I have here. Notice gaps where you are. When you are in a system, guys, it is so easy for you guys to understand what is wrong or what can be improved. So if you are probably aware of any industry owing to the knowledge of your family or your friends or yourself, or maybe in the education sector, why not? You are currently in an organization which is a college institute. You have so many friends. The network of yours is entirely into the education industry. You can easily think of something to disrupt that industry, right? I can't tell you and pick and point, okay, this is the idea for you, because everybody might have a different perspective to look at things. But noticing gaps where you are is the most easiest and the most basic step to progress from a normal mindset to a mindset which is actively and proactively looking for ideas and finding ways to have their entrepreneurial instincts served. Okay. The next one that we have is surround yourself with inspiring people. I know it sounds very lame and very gyan related, that surround yourself with inspiring people, but really you never know what strikes you when you are in the company of people who are actually doing good, who are pursuing their own passion, who have the business venture of their own. Listen to their stories. They'll probably, if you don't learn anything to do from their stories, you'll definitely learn two things not to do from their stories, which is even more important, guys. Anybody can tell you success stories, but failure stories are, I think, in my opinion, more important than success stories, because failure stories can help you tide the wave of a tough time in your own business venture whenever you decide to launch it far more easily than a success story. So if you are in that domain where you are talking to people actively, that you want to do something in the entrepreneurial domain, and people help you with quick tips also. Oh yeah, I did this last year and somehow this didn't fly off nicely and I had to bunk that thought. Then you can probably understand, oh, what made you bunk that thought, or what actually didn't go well. I mean, there has to be something in that entire chain of process, right? Then you can understand what is the good and the bad that's happening around, and you can learn from it without actually having your thing at stake, which is the most safest and risk-free thing you can do, right? If you are not, if your idea and anything is not at stake, you can easily go for all the learnings without any hiccups. So those are the five to six mindset ideas I can help you with, which are going to nurture your idea screening abilities around. I'm not saying this is the de facto Bible, that nothing outside of this can help you. Of course, it can help you, but for any basic issue of how do we come up with an idea to do a venture, this is something that can help you get started. If you are absolutely clueless and you do not know where to begin, this is probably going to help you a bit in a more structured manner, and you can think of launching any of these in your own perspective, of interest. Okay, are you with me?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thanks. Thanks for that validation. I'm sorry, I'm going to be needing that validation because I cannot see you guys and neither can you guys see me. All right, we move ahead from quick tips from idea screening to what's the next question? If you are on your entrepreneurial journey and you ask somebody, how do I think of an idea, right? Next is, how do I know if I'm doing good? Even if you have done something or even if you haven't done something, you are very curious to know the parameters of success, right? The parameters of success really depend, A, person to person, B, it also depends upon the kind of venture you eventually land yourself in. So for that, we have a few things to help you come out of this entire. So this is one area where we have covered that there are plenty of ideas sitting around you and you are enough capable of creating so many more new ideas, right? Now, how do you select which one? If you are a bright kid, you probably have a lot of ideas. If you look around, you will see that, oh, this also can be done. Oh, this market also can be addressed. Oh, there's a new growth trend here. Or probably I am also passionate and creative in this thing and I can do this. But suddenly, you feel like, okay, how do I select? And then the criteria of selection clearly, guys, depends on your mindset. What kind of a person deep down you are, what kind of an entrepreneurial instinct you have. Okay, so I'm going to list a few entrepreneurial instincts here which can help you identify yourself with. So if you identify with one of those or more than one, it can probably help you channelize the ideas and filter them in a manner that you can understand which idea is probably going to be a better idea for you. And I'm not saying you cannot have just one idea, you can definitely go with more, but just to get things started, maybe these entrepreneurial instincts can be very, very helpful. Because often you will see people who are very financially driven, they get into an idea which has a long gestation period, and only after 2 to 3 years of long investments and recouping profits and taking losses on the balance sheet, they are able to generate returns. And that 2 to 3 year time frame of gestation period is very difficult to manage. So which is why it's ideally suggested that you tie along with your personality and entrepreneurial type, and then you move ahead with the idea in a selective manner. So the first one is if you're a builder or not. When I say builder, I do not mean like a construction builder who's going out with bricks and cement and making buildings, but who wants to build an empire or a legacy. So that's what will tempt you. Do you want to be the, Birlas and Tatas of the world, or do you want to have a business of your own, an identity of your own, and may not be the ruler of the world? It's okay to have it. I mean, there is nothing wrong in having an entrepreneurial instinct, but at the same time, in moderation. You do not want to be Bill Gates. You do not want to be Mark Zuckerberg. I mean, obviously, everybody would want to, but that's not your current ambition. So if you are a builder, then things are going to be absolutely different for you. You are going to be launching, or you're going to be wanting to get associated with ideas that have scale of a lot of expansion. You will probably not be happy with just one successful idea. You will get yourself into allied ideas. So for example, you're doing something in maybe technology for hospitals today, but suddenly you say that, oh, why not do technology for insurance companies also? Oh, why not do absolutely different something from technology, but help some people do some outsourcing also. Let me run a BPO also. So you would probably be happy with, getting a bigger share of the market. But that will be possible when you will have allied ideas that are doing good for you. So if you are a builder, you have to watch out for an idea that has a lot of scope of vertical as well as horizontal expansion. All right. The next one is an opportunist. An opportunist, I mean, in no offense, I mean this, is just a person who is not stuck to any of the 5 things that we talked about earlier. He's not probably very keen on which industry I'm supposed to serve. He's not keen on any passion or creativity. He's not keen on any of the market trends. He's not keen about noticing gaps where he is. He's keen about making money. So if I tell him today, you know what, there are lot many pulses that are being exported to Dubai and Middle East from India, and a lot of people get into this business of just transporting pulses and barrels and barrels of pulses there. So he thinks, oh, probably that's a good idea. And if I have a lot of money, I can put it in there and then I can just make some money and do whatever I want with that money. So he's not a stickler. He's not too stuck, too passionate about what he wants to do but he only wants financial gains. And these people might also be very tempted towards short-term gain cycles. You'd probably be tempted for stock markets. You'd probably be tempted for, I'll go to my tutor classes today. I met this friend and he's trying to do this. And what if I pitch in 10,000 with his venture and I'll get whatever my return is and I'll be happy with that. So you don't want to move the world, but you want to be happy in your own little world by just making money. So people like these, you would mostly find as investors. They would make gains, they would move on. They would make gains, they would move on. So if you are an opportunist, you have to be very well networked. You have to be aware of what's good or what's not good around you, around the world, around the economy. What is that one area that you can gap? So, what is the one gap that you can notice anywhere in the world which can help you make money? So that is going to be an opportunist entrepreneur. The third one that we talk about is a specialist, which is absolutely different from an opportunist. So a specialist would probably be, I am good at this and I want to be known for this. No matter how much ever time this takes me, no matter how many years of investments and losses this takes me, but I just want to be a specialist in this domain. And by being a specialist, I am adhering to what all comes in from this industry to me. All right. So if you are identifying yourself with a specialist kind of an entrepreneur, then it is very, very important, guys. You try to understand what is one area of interest for you that is of bigger calling, that is interesting you enough so that you can probably take on a venture for your life in that area. And this is one thing that is probably going to set you apart from builders and opportunists. So builders just want to do everything, but opportunists just want money. But specialists want to be known for their skills and demand and gaps. Demand they can create, gaps they can fill in just one area. So it's not going to be a horizontal expansion for you, but a vertical. So when you get into your area of interest, you move up and down the value chain. You move up, down, and you do a lot of integration backward, forward, and try to understand what all activities of this possible realm you can encapsulate under your own venture. All right. Like I said, for specialists, if anybody is trying to identify with a specialist mentality, please try and invest more time with yourself. Observe how you think and observe how you look at things to understand what is one area of interest that is enough for you to suffice a venture for life. Okay, so we are not talking of area of interest like fine 10th के बाद क्या लेना है, commerce लेना है, 12th के बाद electives. No, we are talking about something which is real. We are talking about something which will have stakes. So it is important that you understand yourself nicely and then take an informed decision and not something in haste. All right. So that's the third one, which is a specialist. The last one, you'd see a lot of those today, innovators. So people who develop an app and suddenly feel that it is doing really well, sell it off, move on to doing something else. If you are something that is just bitten by the innovation bug, you are one of these people. And one of these people, I would say, stick to technologies. So for innovators, it is really important to be very well versed with technology, because I think most of the innovations will involve technology in some format or the other. If you really want to do a technological innovation in itself, kudos to you and please go ahead. But that's what your entire premise is going to be, because you are the one who's going to probably look at things how they will be after 2 years or 3 years or 10 years, and then trying to develop something today for it. Like you must have read in the news today, they're going to be tourist planes taking you up to the space station in the Mars by 2027. That's an innovation. Those are the people who are driven not by money, not by demand, not by scale, not by legacy, but their personal instinct to be serving people, to be creating something new out of nothing. So they want to go into untested waters. This is probably just another framework for you to understand which one of these 4 types better align and suit with your personality type, and accordingly it is going to help you with the criteria of selection. Okay. Do we have any questions or any doubts so far?
Not sure. I have a question.
Alok, you have something to say?
Ma'am,
Ma'am,
Go ahead, Alok.
ma'am,
I have a doubt.
asking.
Hemant, I'll take your question after Alok, all right?
Ma'am, I have
Okay.
only one doubt. Like you are selling builder opportunities, specialists and innovators. These are the only measure, or there are more types of measure.
You're talking about the types of entrepreneurs.
Yes, ma'am.
So these will be primarily 4 types of entrepreneurs. They will definitely be like, you can't say that one person is 100% practical or 100% emotional, right? There has to be a blend of emotion, which is why you can also have blend of personalities. You can have different combinations of these 4 people somehow in you, and then you can understand which is a dominating personality factor for you. So it's not necessarily that these 4 are the only hard coded rules. There can be some combinations of these which exist in you, and you have to understand yourself better for that. But if you look at possibilities, yes, these 4 should be able to cover most of the options outside.
Ma'am, can if any company have these type of specialty, but they failed?
Absolutely, why not? And we are not talking about companies now. We are talking about people. We are talking about entrepreneurs. So, I mean, if you look, like I said, failure stories are more important. And you will, if you try to Google failure stories of entrepreneurs, you will get more results than success stories, because success stories are going to limit you to the ones that have made the world, the some mark on the world map. Like, you'll have Zomato, you'll have Uber, you'll have Ola, you'll have Facebook, but there will be so many ventures which are still trying to find a way. And I'll share one example with you, Alok. So I was doing the same session in Bihar University once, and one of the students came up to me and said, ma'am, we want to do I want to launch a business which will take our previous sessions or previous classes books from normal people and then try to give it to people who are underprivileged. So he wanted to do that venture, and he's barely what, first year in graduation. So I'm sure his venture is not yet out, but somebody probably outside is trying to do it. But if we have not heard about it in a very good name, that means that venture is still struggling. That venture is still trying to make its mark. The ventures about milk basket, big basket, and subah doodh ghar pe sabzi ghar pe dene aa jana, all of these ventures got their attention during lockdown, right? Before that, they were not that big a name because people were going out to get essentials. It's only when that demand moment came in and suddenly these ventures were a hit. So, of course, a lot of ventures will probably, I won't say they will be failures, but I'll say they are still struggling. They are still waiting for their demand market to hit them right and for them to shine.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Let's go with your question, Hemant.
No, ma'am. Actually, you have answered the question.
Oh, absolutely great then. Let's move ahead then. So now, okay, now we've covered what all questions, what all mindset we can have for ideas, what all identifying personality traits we need to do to be able to understand how we select that idea, right? So we've moved 2 steps ahead. We know how to think about ideas, and we know how to probably choose one of those ideas for ourselves. The third thing now we talk about is very crucial and very overwhelming, I would say. Most people, when they talk about launching their own business venture, they are like, oh my god, we will have to do so many things, and how will we do that, and what help can we get, and is there some government funding, is there government mechanism happening, or can I get help from my friends, can I get help from people जिन्होंने ये करने की कोशिश की और नहीं हुआ, like Alok said. So there are a lot of things that will probably be weighing very heavy on your mind before you start off your venture, and that is where these key decisions need to be made. So these decisions, please have a caution in your head, are not the entire set of decisions, but probably the most important decisions that you need to take once you have finalized the idea for yourself. Okay. So we'll move with them in a one-to-one manner. The first one definitely has to be idea screening. Until and unless you have one idea that you want to give your heart and soul to, you would not be able to move ahead in a more productive manner, right? So you have to have an idea in place. The next one is, how do you make a business proposal out of that idea? Okay, so like I shared an idea with from one of my ex-students with all of you. He wanted to recycle the used books for underprivileged kids and for kids whose parents are like construction workers and they really do not have a lot of access to education. But then he's running on a market which is not going to be paying him well, right? But he's aware of it. उसको मालूम है ये वाली मार्केट से बहुत ज्यादा मैं प्रॉफिट्स एक्सपेक्ट नहीं कर सकता, बिकॉज द मोमेंट यू एक्सपेक्ट profit from an underprivileged market, they are stopping to become your customer, right? And if you want to survive your entire business model on a market like this, then you should have something in mind. What are you trying to serve? Are you a non-profit organization? Are you doing this for your corporate social responsibility? Are you doing this just to satisfy your social service needs? So you have to be very much aware of everything in this process, and everything we discuss on this slide is going to help you think about your idea in a more constructive and a more organized manner. Okay. How do you make a business proposal out of an idea? So what all things that you need in your business proposal? So first one is ownership decision. I know it must have taken a lot of time for you guys to understand what you want to do, but it is equally important about the next 5 decisions that we are talking, and they deserve equal investment of effort and time from you guys. Okay, so ownership decision is going to impact you for the very long time. You have to understand if you are moving in as a one-person company, sole proprietorship. Do you want to have a bunch of your friends come along as a partnership? Do you want to be just a corporation which is then going to get a lot of government grants? What are you wanting to be? So first is your ownership decision. If you think you want to start off as an individual company, like a sole proprietor, one person running it, go ahead, no problems. You can always change the ownership of your firms, or you can have a new firm register and then you can dissolve the previous one, but at least have some thought to it. Don't think of it in a manner कि we'll think about it later. अभी तो बहुत कुछ और देखना है, अभी तो मुझे ये देखना है कि मैं सामान लाऊंगा कहाँ से. No, no, no. Ownership decision is very critical because it is going to impact your long-term profit sharing and long-term sustainability also. If you currently go ahead with 5 people and suddenly you 5 people are not able to sustain that business, as in आप कंसेंशुअल डिसीजंस नहीं ले पा रहे हो, आपकी डिसीजन मेकिंग में इतने ज्यादा इश्यूज आ रहे हैं और कोई अग्रीमेंट नहीं हो रहा है, that it is hampering the business, then dissolving the business will also be a problem because none of you will be agreeing to it, right? So ownership decision is a big decision. Think about it, give a lot of time to it. Financing decision. Most ventures have this roadblock. Most business ideas come until this stage and then they fail or maybe pause, I would say. Why? Because they did not think of this earlier. So I'm not saying that you guys, remove everything from here and here and here and jump here. No, but it is important to have some background understanding ki financing decision kaise hoga. So for you to be able to understand that, are you going to put your own funds? Are you going to take a loan from bank? Are you going to take some government grants? Because आप कोई एक ऐसे सेक्टर और एक अंडर प्रिविलेज सेक्टर को हेल्प कर रहे हो जिसमें आपका सोशल सर्विस बेनिफिट आ जाता है. डू यू वांट टू पुल इन फ्रेंड्स to get more money? Do you want to use your money from family to start off and then see how things progress? a lot of your financing decision is going to not just impact the initial part, but also the entire life also, in the entire life and profit sharing of your business. Supposedly you do well and you basically you went into wrong terms while financing. You took a loan at a very high rate, or maybe you took like casually you took some money from your relative or some of your friend and you said whatever I earn and 30% of my profits are yours, which is unreasonable. I mean, I'm not talking here that don't share your profits, but have a sensible thought to it. What you are getting, uska cost kya hai? Is that cost the only cost that is available to you, or are there multiple options available to you which can come cheaper? Having a fixed cost on your balance sheet, fine, I have a 10% interest that I'm supposed to pay on a loan, is still, I would say, coming at a fixed cost. When you do profit sharing, you should be very well prepared of sharing higher profits also and lower profits also. So think about it, understand the strength of your idea, think how much potential it has, and then go for that financing decision. It is really important. Okay. The third one is business model decision. After you know that you have the money, after you know that what ownership you would like to go with, you should also be knowing what business model you want to run on. So, आपका model क्या होगा? Let's go back to that textbook example I took. तो आपका business model क्या होना चाहिए उसके अंदर? Okay, admit. So your business model will be, would you be physically collecting books from people, keeping it somewhere, and whenever you have a demand, then you will give the book? For that, you need a big facility because books ka storage is not going to be an easy thing. You can have termites, the books can get wet. So you have to have proper book storage facility. You need to have a place which is locked up. You need to have a place which is labeled. आपके पास हर मे बी हर क्लास के हर सब्जेक्ट के ऑर्गेनाइज तरीके से एक वो होना चाहिए, लेबलिंग होना चाहिए. सो इज दैट गोइंग टू बी योर बिजनेस मॉडल? और your business model will be when you get an idea, then you go and take the book from the person and then give it to him. आपकी डिलीवरी कैसे होगी? Will customers be paying for your delivery charges? What is going to be the area that you can cater for a free delivery of that book? Or what do you want to do about your business model? So basically, business model का मतलब अगर मैं बहुत simple तरीके से बोलूँ, it is going to be how will you be doing your business? Now you know what business you want to do. You know what the ownership will be. You know where the funds will come from, but how? So what and how? The how is a very important question because most of your business proposal will focus on your business model decision. You will have to explain in very, very detailed terms what is your business idea. How will you actually execute it? So for somebody to tell me कि मैं textbooks इधर से उधर पहुंचाऊंगा is a business idea for him. But for some organization to approve your business venture, you have to be very descriptive. How are you going to execute this idea? So your business model is very important. It is going to have a lot of your impact on your cost and your profits. Okay. The next one is logistics decision. So business model and logistics are somehow concerned, but business model can still be a very overlying factor and logistics can be a very deep dive specific factor. How will you do your sourcing? Where will you keep it? For how long can you keep it? If you're doing maybe a business of things which needs special packing, special care, do you need a refrigeration facility or do you need a microwave facility if you're doing food items or maybe milk? So, you know, everything around your logistics is a very big decision in itself. How are you doing it is business model, but how ka implementation comes in logistics. The last one is organization decision. Why is this the last one? Is because this is going to grow with you. So organization decision, in every business registration, you have to tell how many people you are going to start off with. A lot of government schemes, government grants come to you if you have a minimum amount of employees on your record. Okay. So this organization decision about how your organization will be structured, who will head what, Is it just going to be you and one of your friend right now doing all the jobs? Fine, it's no bad thing. You will scale up as the market and as your business scales up, right? So that's going to be one of your organization decision. When you club all of this and you write a very detailed proposal for yourself, then that thing is going to come into your registration. So these are the building blocks to your entrepreneurial journey. These are the key decisions you need to make. In no way I am trying to tell you कि बहुत कुछ करना पड़ेगा and आप अभी से डर के बैठ जाओ. No, there is a lot to be done, but because there is a lot to achieve, you have set yourself on a journey which is high risk, high gains. You know, and entrepreneurial business ventures are never easy. If easy, let's say nothing is easy in life, but high risk high gains life is going to take a lot out of you, and it's only in the initial play phases where a lot of clarity is always going to help you. अगर आप अभी जल्दी में you think of an idea and you think okay fine I am an innovator and I'll do this and मैं बस ये कर दूंगा और मैं दुनिया हिला दूंगा. No, probably you haven't thought of important decisions like the 5 decisions we talked about, and after maybe closer to your registration process you will be in a fix. You will need help and you will say, oh, I didn't think about it, now what do I do? Because all of my other things are so good, I didn't think about this one, so I don't want my idea to stop right now because of one thing I did not pay attention to. All right. So when you are starting off your journey, you have to think about the bigger picture, the entire picture. I'm not saying you do all of this alone. Take professional help, take personal casual help, take friends from your, elder siblings of your friends, take help from your elder cousins, parents, whoever you want to approach with. But yes, keep in mind that these are the important decisions you need to be taking for any of your entrepreneurial journey. Okay. Next up, like Alok said, there might be times when you will be stuck. Then what do you do? Rachit, do you have a question?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Can you move on to the previous slide?
Sure.
So these 5 business proposals, are they in chronological order? Like first we'll have a ownership decision, then financing.
I mean, there is no order to your business proposal. Of course, the kind of venture you are trying to register and the kind of state, everything, authority, they'll have a different format to it. But if you take the pecking order of importance, I would say these will be the increasingly important decisions on top. So you'll have ownership decision as the most important decision right up top, followed by financing and business model and logistics and organization.
I was thinking that business model should be given more priority because when we establish a business model, we can acquire financing more flexibly.
Absolutely. So I'm not saying that others are not important, and we are not talking about how do you interrelate between these 5. We're talking of how you take your idea to your registration. So when you take your things to registrars, they'll probably have level 1 check. Ownership kya hai? Level 2 check. Do you have the money? Level 3 check. Okay, fine. What do you want to do? So I am coming from somebody who is listening to your idea, and you are talking from the perspective of somebody who's trying to get everything together for an idea. But for what you said, it makes total sense. If you only have a good idea is when you can have better financing and ownership decisions to it. So all of these decisions are not solo riders. All of them feed into one another. So for example, even if you, I said that organization decision is probably not very important right now, but as your business grows, it will be important. But anybody you talk to about your idea, they are going to ask, कितने बंदे hire करोगे, कितने बंदों की team होगी. So all of these decisions are important, but probably when you look at somebody who is trying to tick and tie your idea and approve it, they are going to move from top to bottom. So it's like a funnel. You have the most overarching decision on top, then they keep coming down to decisions which are more tactical and which are more business related.
Okay, ma'am, got it. Thank you.
Or that was a nice question. So we move to troubleshooting ideas. Okay, With fair bit of caution, I'm telling you that this troubleshooting will be part preachy and part helpful. So you have to take it with a pinch of salt. Okay. So the first troubleshooting, and why we say troubleshooting is because, like I said, it is too much to do, and any person can feel that there is no road ahead and my idea is dying tonight and I'm not able to work on it. Right. So it's you've invested so much into it for a reason. So don't let that thing take over your entire ambition and investment. Have these troubleshooting ideas at the back of your head. Have some idea of how you can move ahead this roadblock. Maybe after taking some time, you know, आप आज किसी problem में फंसे हो, it's not important that you come out of it right now. You can take a day, you can take 2 days, 3 days, understand it, get yourself together, and then come out stronger. All right. So first one is procedural. Why I say systematic approach is it is the basic necessity. I mean, for anybody who has done good in a business venture is because he was able to do a systematic breakdown of things. As basic as, guys, a to-do list in the morning. आप लोग college में हो, you have a lot of things to do, you have co-curricular activities, you have to listen to these useless sessions, you have to study, appear for exams, right? You can start inculcating this systematic approach in yourself right now. Have a to-do list in the order of importance of activities that you would want to strike off each day. All right. So if you are not systematic, there are higher chances that you will be in trouble. But if you are systematic, you will still be in trouble, but you would be able to get out of it nicely because you will have a step-by-step approach of, okay, fine, I'm stuck, but what do I do next? Right? Always have a mentor in life. Like I said, surround yourself with inspiring people. It is very important because your seniors, your teachers, your trusted people around you, they can tell you so many of your experiences, their experiences, sorry, which can help you in your journey. And like I said earlier, if you do not learn anything from them, at least you will have two things not to do, which is saving you a lot of trouble from getting up again and, you know, getting back in the race. Use technology, never enough. We are using technology today to connect, and I am here to help you with your problems right now. So this is probably sort of a mini gyan and framework and troubleshooting session for you guys. But if you go to Facebook, if you go to your interest groups, try to explore a bit. There are so many places where people of similar interests are coming together and they're talking of problems, right? Social media and technology is not just for amusement and posting pictures and liking and everything. You can also use it very constructively for your problems. Googling might not be good at times, maybe good depending upon how serious trouble you are in. But believe me, guys, these self-help groups, your networking in your senior group, your teachers, your trusted people, your mentors, is definitely going to make a big difference. And if not for your entire business, but definitely for your mental peace, for your mental state, for your motivation levels, that's going to be very much beneficial if you have all of these things in your life. And like I said, sorry, I was about to say something. Okay, we'll come back to it. Leverage your ideas within friends. So yes, this is something that I've heard from a lot of people that so there are two parts to it. A, you shy away from telling your idea to your friends. You think that वो मेरा idea चोरी कर लेगा. As simple as it gets, right? It's not always like that, guys. I mean, there is so much to every person's ability to contribute to an idea. I, of course, will give you that benefit of doubt that not everybody deserves to know about your idea because otherwise they can move ahead of you. But you can always have a filter and have one layer of people with whom you can share your thoughts. If you share your thoughts with them, they probably would have heard something somewhere and then come to you and then tell you, oh, fine, yeah, what you are telling me is something that I've also heard somewhere else, but I don't know what happened there. So he probably gave you a lead. You can explore that angle and see what happened to that idea. Did it fall through the cracks? Did it do well? Why did it not do well? You can probably have connect to the people who did that business and then try to understand what went right and what went wrong with you. with their idea. So you leverage your idea within friends. I'll give you a classic example. At times, like you say, I mean, not necessarily you guys, but a lot of people say they do not have financial assistance. So, or they do not have anybody to take them through this entire registration process. So when you leverage your idea with friends, you can do some cost benefit analysis. So maybe some of your friend has a lot of money, but no idea. You have a brilliant idea, you know, is for sure going to work. Why don't you cross collaborate? You take his money, put a fee to it, put maybe a profit sharing to it, put him as a partner or something, or give a fixed return to him, and you leverage that idea. So leveraging your ideas with friends is also going to help you, not just in the later stages of your idea, but believe me guys, when you discuss ideas with your friends, you can absolutely put yourself in the first stage we discussed, which is about thinking of ideas. When you talk to people, you get so many ideas about how you can fine tune your idea, how you can think of maybe even something much more bigger than the idea yourself you have right now. Okay. The next one is the government schemes and platforms. So, oh yeah, now I remember what I was about to say. Most of the universities across the nation right now have a lot of emphasis on entrepreneurship. And tell me why. Because most of the students used to go up to teachers and say, professors, and say, ma'am, I want help with this, or I want help with this. Do you know somebody? So maybe they know, maybe they don't know, but maybe sooner or later, our education system has understood the instinct our students have. So I can name you almost every legit state university today has some form of investment going around in entrepreneurial development of their kids. So if you try to explore within your college or within your university, you will definitely have a group of people dedicated to entrepreneurial troubleshooting. If not troubleshooting, they can help you to the next level, who can actually do troubleshooting for you, because they are so full of experiences. They are so full of students coming up to them to share their stories and ask them for help. So probably if they are not the person to help themselves, they can redirect you to right people. So leverage your ideas within friends, use technology, be connected in your groups. All of your alumni groups are great for advertising your business ideas as well. I mean, I know like alumni and everything is a bit more selective approach. Not everybody is active there, but for whoever is active, it's going to make a great start and a very free advertising, because in whatever groups people are active and connected, right? I mean, you may not be connected to the entire batch of yours, but whatever 5 6 groups people are active and close friends right now, they are going to talk about it. Oh, do you know the XYZ, वो जो हमारी इंजीनियरिंग वाले बैच में था, अरे यार उसने अपना ही बिजनेस स्टार्ट किया, तेरे को पता है? So this is how things travel. Things will come to you in a manner that you will hear people talking about your business, and that's free publicity. So please use all of these self-help groups for any troubleshooting that you have, and do not be afraid to ask questions in these forums. If you have a doubt, don't think that your doubt is too small or would make you look like you have not prepared enough. It's okay, you're doing it for the first time, and the very fact that you're doing it is a great success. There are so many people who are not even doing it, right? Government platforms and schemes, great idea. You have Mudra banks to help you with small levels of financing. You have Startup India movement to help you with trainings of people who trainings with regards to whatever area or industry of entrepreneurship you want to take up. You have free legal support provisions, etc., for every state differently. Again, it comes, I mean, I'm not ensuring the success of these programs, but I'm trying to tell you the importance of entrepreneurship given by the investments done by the government also. So I have students who have actually used these platforms and come out very happy, in a manner saying, fine, my questions got resolved, or at least I now know what to do as the next step in my journey. So all of these are procedural troubleshootings which are going to help you with the virtue of experience and the amount of people that have come to them. Okay. The next one, a bit preachy, but very helpful. Very important, guys. Psychological troubleshooting. You feel you're stuck? Take a pause. It's okay. It's a lot of hustle. It's a lot of work. Stop. Remember why you started. Take a leap of faith. If you think that something is troubling you, just try to understand what is that. Do a lot of focus exercises and meditation. I mean, all of this will sound very lame to you right now, but like having a decade of corporate experience and trying to balance a lot of things in my life, I have really understood the increasing importance of focus exercises and meditation. So it's only when you are in it, you know it. Otherwise, you make fun of people who do it. So it's totally okay. But yes, I mean, if you can take a bit of learning from people around you, there is no successful person in the world who does not focus on meditation and self exercises. Okay, they help you keep focused, they help you keep motivated. Take your idea to as many knowledgeable people you come across. You go at a party, you meet new people, you find one person interesting enough and knowledgeable enough, and you find, yaar, ye bada smart banda hai. Take your idea to him. Not like, this is my idea, but generally talk about. So, what do you think? What we can do here is this. Oh, what do you think about if somebody came to you with this sort of an idea? It's okay. Probably you're going to meet him next, or not, never going to meet him next. You meet somebody in a professional network. You give an interview somewhere and you find that interviewer is very sensible and you're very impressed by him. Connect offline on LinkedIn. Ask him if he has the availability to mentor you for like a 5-10 minute session, and just bounce off your idea to him. If you are looking for people to inspire you in any manner, don't be afraid to approach them. And that inspiration, guys, can come from anybody around you. You can be inspired by your professors, your teachers, your head of colleges, your student union heads, your professional networks, your personal network, anybody. But try to keep improving your idea, because this entire thing that we talked about, this is a big process and this is going to take some time. So meanwhile, I have had people come to me and tell me, मैम हमने एक आइडिया सोचा था और हमने उसके ऊपर बहुत काम किया बिजनेस प्रपोजल पे, we were doing all of this, and then suddenly the moment we took it to the registration, it was almost a couple of months, and then a bigger company had launched a more systematic idea or a product around it. So our idea went waste, our efforts went waste. So which is why it is important for you to be constantly learning and improving your idea. So agar, even if you're in that process of registering it, keep improving it, keep talking to people in that area, keep understanding what is new in that industry jahan pe aapka idea cater karega. So you'll understand what and how can we change our idea. And guys, this is no new news that people change a lot of their ideas until they get to registration. It's because there are new rules, it's because there are new regulations, there are new trends in the market that you need to capture. Okay, last one. If you feel none of this is working for you, try to read stories of people who made it big. Try to read stories of people who made it big, probably not in their first time, so that you can get help, that you are not in this alone. Okay. So all of this in a manner is going to give you a very holistic view of how things are and how you can take it a notch ahead in your entrepreneurial journey, right from searching your idea, identifying your entrepreneurial personality, having some key questions that you need to answer, and then having some troubleshooting problem areas, how to basically fix that troubleshooting that you're stuck at. So this is all from me. I am open to I'm open for questions right now if anyone of you has any questions. Otherwise, any questions, guys? Yep, go ahead. I hear somebody's hands raised up. Yes, Shivam, go ahead.
Ma'am, from the starting things, everyone is talking about the ideas. So idea comes from experience, and experience comes from working. Like we are in bachelor, so we will have idea experience by internship and all that. But nobody yet talked about how to approach a good company or a good industry to work.
Shivam, I laid out here 6 parameters to help you think of an idea without having an experience. So everything that we talked today is going to be, I mean, dependent on your network and your conversations. So if you want to think of it, you necessarily need not be a part of an audience which you need to cater. You just have to be aware. You have to read a lot, invest in an idea. You cannot wait for an idea to fall like an apple from a tree on you, but you have to think of an idea. So thinking ke liye, these are the 6 dimensions that you can look at. It necessarily need not be a corporate experience that can help you think of an idea. And I am a corporate professional. I can vouch that if you are a corporate professional, the idea that you would be able to ever think of after having professional experience is only probably very limited to the role that you did. It is never going to be a bigger one. Like, what I mean by bigger is never going to be a fungible one. It is not going to solve a lot of problems, because when you are in a corporate organization, you're doing one role or maybe 5 roles, but in a bigger bracket of one category, right? So
Yes,
your
ma'am.
exposure is in one category. You would be able to think about anything to solve a problem or anything to make that category's life better only for that category. So your exposure, I mean, I would not like to agree that it's only corporate exposure that can help you think of an entrepreneurial idea.
All right, ma'am. I have a one more query.
Yeah.
Ma'am, like approx 6 months ago, I with my friends started working on ideas, but we had to drop because of fear of losing. So, ma'am, how can we manage this?
उसके लिए तो last 10 minutes we spoke about was this, right? I mean, fear of losing, very genuine, guys. So especially Shivam, you know, given the age and given the how do I say, given how early on in your life you guys are, it's okay to feel scared. I know with experience, any kind of experience in life, you would be more strong to take failures in life. And when you're small, when you're like early on in your life, you would want things to go well for you. But for anything, I would say resume your idea. Why not? Even if it fails, even if it doesn't do as big, you can always credit yourself as somebody who tried. You do not know it's going to fail unless you try. That is what my suggestion would be. So unless I talk to you guys, I would not know whether you guys are an interesting audience or not an interesting audience, right? It's only when you try, you know where is it heading, and where is it heading, then you can maneuver. Then you can change its direction by taking some proper help, like about troubleshooting we talked about here. But I am definitely not in favor of bunking your idea just by the fear of losing. You have a lot of time ahead of you. And the earlier you guys start, okay, one motivation would be the earlier you start, the easier is the cost benefit analysis for you. I'll tell you why. You guys are in your graduation degree right now. You would probably, after this, some of you would start after your internships, you'll get some corporate jobs, or somebody would go into a master's degree. Soon you'd start earning. Everybody, like from say 5 years, 6 years from now, everybody, whoever is done masters or whoever's not done masters, you would be earning, right? Then your cost benefit analysis would be even riskier, because you have to let go of a particular amount that is coming to you each month, and then you have to at least match that level in your new business soon. So your that will be your target, and that is going to keep you on your toes, and that is going to give you anxiety. So which is why starting early on will definitely have its advantages, but of course have your like have your education necessities in place. Be a smart kid. Don't say that I want to take a lot of degrees and then start the business. But if you have to start a business and if you are confident of your idea that it is going to do well, please work on it. At least, if not in full form, don't let loose. Have some work progressing on it in the background.
All right, ma'am. Ma'am, we had I dropped it because uh, saw this as a financial point of view. Like if I lose in these things, so I have to lose this amount of money. And as a student, from where I arrange this to a startup a new one.
That's a fair point, Shivam, and this is probably one of the bigger problems or factors to, stop people from pursuing this everywhere, not just here. But you have
Yes,
to
ma'am.
have some sort of maybe thought out financing decision, or you can cross collaborate, or instead of ask like putting everything at stake, have a limited risk appetite. Whatever amount you have some amount of it, have only some amount of it invested in the business, and then see with time how it progresses.
Yes, ma'am. Today's lecture was really motivated for me. I will definitely work.
I'm happy to hear that, Shivam. Oh, we have Aditya, you have some question?
Yes, yes. Actually, I wanted to ask that supposedly like Geo, it disrupted the telecom industry.
Right,
If I have an idea, we can say disrupt any conventional industry.
right.
But the companies like, if I consider, if I want to disrupt the telecom industry, for example, like companies like Geo already has MBB groups, MBB consultancy groups. So they, means they can do the market research and everything on such sorts of huge level. Means I'm talking about they actually have help at means at a very huge level. And someone like me who does not have any fund, how can I disrupt that sector?
So Aditya, a very great example that struck my mind when you presented your case was not very related to telecom, but I'll share it for an experience share. So
Okay.
one of my friend, since school, he was very much interested in, I mean, I'm not sure आप लोगों के time पे क्या था, but at least our time we used to have only dedicated computer session hours in which you can go to the computer lab and use the computers and internet. So back then he was so fascinated that he was always trying to find more proxy servers and get access to websites like Facebook and Google and Orkut, which were not allowed by the school authorities. And soon enough he understood that this is my, I mean, however bad it is, but this is what I like to do. He, with another schoolmate of ours, came together to find out more ways of hacking and doing all of this. And in all the good manner, he proposed, he packaged this. He was just like you, thinking about, Arey, matlab, I only need to do this. I only know how to do this. So, how can I make a bigger empire? And today, I am not kidding. He has international funding from three big P houses, one from US and two from Japan, and he has sold two innovation startups to bigger firms, and he's now working on the third one. What he actually did was he thought smartly to package his skills in a manner that will come handy to people. What he did was he packaged it as ethical hacking, and he pitched it to the government. And to the government he said, we are going to stress test your system if somebody else can hack it or not. Is because why? We have a lot of talent, we have all the tools, we have all the softwares to bug you, and we you pay us some money and we will try to see how robust or how strong your system is. So suddenly, from a person who's trying to do a bad thing, you try to be a good person. And there was no
Okay.
market for this ethical hacking. Believe me guys, when he started like 6 to 7 years ago, usse pehle you would not have heard a lot about ethical hacking. But today all the bigger corporations in the world are getting such smaller companies. Either they are acquiring all of these smaller companies because they are so technology sound, or they are getting associated with these companies to have a better performance of their system. So to your answer, like, I mean, I am hoping you are able to draw a tangent to this answer,
Yes,
Aditya,
yes.
but in
Yes,
a
ma'am.
manner that even if you do not want to become the next Geo, you can be somebody who a Geo can absorb in itself, right? You
Okay,
can
okay,
have
ma'am.
one aspect of technology so good to you, and again, you have to be a foresighted, like a far sighted person for this. You do not have to look at what telecom is right now. You have to look at how telecom would be 5 years in now. So
Okay.
this 5G spectrum and this Wi-Fi calling, all of this was not there 3 years ago. 5G spectrums bhi nahi the, 4G spectrums bikte the. Then if you bet on things like these, if you bet on things which are very upcoming and new, is only when you can take your proposals to bigger firms also. And especially for the industry, like you said, Aditya, is a very government regulated industry, so you have a
Yes.
lot of consolidation. आपको 4-5 main players मिलेंगे जो वहाँ काम करते हैं. But then to come above those, you always have an idea of being a specialist, like we discussed, and then pitch your company to these companies to be absorbed. And it is a very natural process. Jio bhi agar aaj Jio hai, wo sab kaam khud nahi karta hai. They have outsourcers, they have smaller players that they have tied up with, they have contractors, they have smaller technology companies that they have even acquired. But because it is Jio and a 1 million acquisition would probably not mean a lot, तो वो इतना ज्यादा हाईलाइट में नहीं आता है. But for people like us, it means the world.
Yes. Okay, ma'am. That was very helpful.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
What do we have next? Do we have any more questions?
Hi, Ms. Vasundhara. I have a question. This is Manjula here.
Hi, Manjula.
Am I audible?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
So you were talking about finding the right mentor.
Yeah.
Like suppose if any of these kids have an idea, okay, or if somebody has an idea, so how does one find the right person who can, apart from teachers and elders in the family, but actually a professional who actually can suggest the way forward, um, to pursue that idea, like what should be the next step, how should the person go forward, how should he deal with issues. So how
Okay.
do you find the right person? I mean, okay, having a mentor is fine, sounds makes sense, but then how does one know, okay, okay, now to one extent the person can contact teachers, faculty, to one
Right.
extent can contact elders and the people who are entrepreneurs in the family, but
Right.
then professionally how do you go about it?
That's a good question, Manjula ma'am. And the only problem to this is anybody who's trying to help new entrepreneurs professionally is coming at a cost, which is again adding to the financial pressures of students. So, which is why, as at least if you look at our audience right now, which are graduate students, we would try to have them better understanding through the eyes of people who have seen the better world, who have had more exposure and experiences. And for them, the immediate circle would be teachers, parents, elders. And I always suggest professional networking. LinkedIn is a great place for it, for people who may able to help you, but not at a very costing fee that is going to pinch your pocket. But that said, if you are ready to pay the price for it, there are definitely professional consultants out there helping you register your businesses and think about it in a more productive and constructive manner, and have like step by step procedural steps laid out to it. So professional help is always there at rescue, but it's something that probably our student target audience would not be very keen on because it comes at a heavy price. Is why I always suggest that you take the maximum benefit of the exposure and experience to the immediate layer around you, which definitely would be your teachers and elders, and friends and friends of friends. So even if you know somebody's XYZ cousin is doing a business, why not take his phone number and just have a chat, understand what he is doing. Maybe he's not taking seriously, and the least you would do is get motivation that you are doing really great. Okay, that's one thing. But LinkedIn is a great source, guys, and LinkedIn is very easy to operate, I would say. If you have to today go and find somebody as an XYZ entrepreneur in an XYZ industry, you can easily get so many people. You can start approaching them. Not all of them may respond, but somebody would respond you if you tell them the premise right, that you are also trying to launch your own business and you're looking for a mentor. Everybody is walking each other home in that manner, but only if your approach is right. So you have to choose which one suits you the best. If you're ready to pay the price, there are definitely professional consultants there to help you with your business plans and proposals and registrations. Otherwise, all of your networking is the only way for you to go ahead.
Thank you, Ms. Vasundhara. That was very insightful of here. It was yeah. Thank you so much for the answer. Anybody, any other question?
Yeah,
Any
I see
student, any
one
other
more.
questions?
I see one more hand being raised by Omama.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, ma'am. Ma'am, my question is like that. In recently, like many startup day by day is going on, and even due to AI, so lots of job is like just losing and that technology based company. So that is going to be lost and that's closed because of the AI. So what should be main focus of for that idea that can be develop more and becoming growth. So
I'm sorry, your voice was a bit cracking. Could you just repeat your question?
Yeah, just a second. Ma'am, is it clear now?
I'm still to hear you. Do you mean to say that there's a lot of artificial intelligence and technology related innovation that's happening?
Yes, ma'am. So that replace the manual, like repetitive work kinds of industry, and in future. So what should be best idea focus for what should be idea that should be focused for that in respect to that work.
Okay, so I'm not sure if I've understood it correctly, but I'll still try to answer. I think you're talking about how the manual task in each industry is going down and how technology start off is kind of doing a lot of automation in every industry. My first suggestion to you, Mama, would be stick to the trend that is growing. If technology and automation is the trend that is growing, you would probably want to capitalize that. And if in any format your idea can take some help from technology, please don't shy away, be more than happy to do it, because you want your idea to be sustainable, right? You don't want your idea to be in the market which is going away, which is fading out. So your idea should definitely be on an upsurge of trend line, and anything related automation and technology in any industry is one safe bet of that upsurge. That would be my suggestion to you. But still, if you want to focus on the market that is not maybe the very big demand area right now, there's no harm in it, but you should have the the capacity to bear more risk and more losses in that domain. And I think sooner or later, even if you pick that market, you would have to take technology to turn it around. Does that answer your question? Okay, maybe we'll take a pass on that one. There seems to be some sound issue there. Have any more questions, guys? I had some very useless school off quiz for you guys, but if you guys want to take a rain check or you want to do it, totally up to you guys, because we're already nearing the end of the session.
We can do it.
Okay, great.
Sure,
It's
ma'am.
going to be a very quick one. I didn't put a lot of brain to it, so you would not need to either. All right, which is this company? Which is this entrepreneurial success? Instant pictures, stories, reels.
Instagram.
Very nice. This one?
It can be any company with
Tesla.
vehicle.
No, it cannot be anyone. I think somebody said the name. Who was
Tesla.
it?
Tesla.
Yes, it's Tesla. How come all companies? How come all companies? No. Okay, Big Blue social networking.
LinkedIn.
Twitter,
LinkedIn.
guys.
Urban Clap.
Urban Club.
Urban company. Urban company होगा उसका नाम. Yes. This one?
Pepperfry.
Yes. The other one? The other one?
Ladder.
नहीं, Furlenco is different.
Urban
Furlenco
Ladder.
is renting.
I
IKEA नहीं. Furniture online is Urban Ladder.
Yeah, Urban Ladder or something.
Furlenco is about
Ola,
renting
Uber.
your furniture.
Ola.
Ola and Uber.
Yeah. Great.
Microsoft.
Microsoft.
MS Office.
Very nice. Oh, that's a repeat. Okay, this one's going to be not that easy. Let's go on mute, everybody. Thank you. Whoever knows the answer can unmute and then say, okay? This is the biggest tobacco producer of the world, innovating to create a smoke-free culture. I think this also resonates with one of the questions I think Aditya had or somebody else had, that how do you... Sorry? Yeah, so I think one of you guys had this question about how do you disrupt a big industry which is so settled.
It was me. It was me.
Yes, Aditya. So this is a great example. And when you know the answer, you can go back to this company's website and understand why it is trying to innovate in a smoke-free culture while still being in the same business. So
Must be
smoking
tobacco
is
gum or
not...
something like that.
Hanji?
It must be something like tobacco gum or something like nicotine gum.
Yeah, no, that is about removing your addiction to it. Go and research it. I mean, this is the world's biggest producer of tobacco, and it knows that its market is going to come down because of the health awareness that is there. So it's now trying to create a smoke-free culture by having lesser health hazards and implications. But tell me the name of it. Come on.
No idea.
No idea.
ITC.
Anybody?
Ma'am, ITC.
ITC is what?
Ma'am, this is a
ITC?
company or
It's a company. So
Indian
what?
tobacco.
Ma'am,
Listen, guys. What ITC is to India, this company is to the world.
ma'am,
So
PMI.
ITC is the biggest.
Marlboro?
No, Marlboro is a brand, guys.
Okay, so I
Ma'am,
don't know it, but
Hindustan
I'll go
Unilever.
Philip
No.
Morris.
Ma'am,
Yes,
Philip Morris.
yes. It is Philip Morris. It is. All right, next one. Largest online retailer who has recently added an innovative custom feature.
Amazon.
And custom feature is basically where, sellers can custom make their products and then sell it, which is typically not on... Huh?
ma'am Lava?
Ma'am, it is Amazon.
Amazon it is.
Ma'am, it is Amazon.
Yes.
Amazon India.
Hanji,
Ma'am,
Sumit sun liya.
ma'am, even in mobile sector, the companies are now giving custom mobiles, ma'am.
Oh yes, that's a great idea.
Yes, ma'am. The first Indian company Lava had given.
Yeah. So all of these things that we are discussing today are somehow about, how do you make your existing idea even bigger? There is no limit, but you keep improving your idea. The last one, a disruptive business of licensed images, videos, and music.
Shutterstock.
Yes, Shutterstock. Who thought an idea that can change every corporate's life? Because today also when we make presentations in our company's decks, we are supposed to take images which are licensed from Shutterstock so that nobody can do a legal repercussion on us and say, ये picture तो मैंने खींची थी, ये आपने use कर लिया और मुझे अब इसका legal fine चाहिए. So somehow in this world where people are traveling and clicking pictures, somebody thought of an idea to make money out of those click pictures. And Shutterstock does not even click pictures, guys. It takes pictures from us and it sells it to people. Right? So that was it. That was it from my side. It was great to have you guys around. And I am happy to leave my contact with your coordinators if any one of you want to contact me for anything later on. And it was a pleasure, Manjula ma'am and Dr. Nidhi, to have this session. And thank you all for being a wonderful audience.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you,
Thank you
Ms.
so much.
Thank you,
Vanshika. It
ma'am.
was a great
Thank you,
session.
ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
I mean,
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
really
Thank you,
nice
ma'am.
session.
Thank you so much for a wonderful interactive session and your stimulating speech and motivating our participants to be successful entrepreneurs. So it was really very interesting and informative session, and especially for those who are really going to start their ventures in future. And so many thanks from all of us, ma'am.
Thank you. I really wish the video would have worked. It would have been way better,
No
but
problem, ma'am.
there is always another way.
Okay. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Bye, guys.
Thank you, Vasundhara ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you, students.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you.